It's not a crisis. It is a contribution to development, a rich knowledge of culture, labor, and also resilience. Our mission must be to create a system that recognizes this reality and not to distort it. Nigeria, like many African countries, is youthful. Over 60% of our population are under 25. These young men and women carry within them the promise of innovation, resilience, and leadership, and yet many remain on the margin of these opportunities. We are determined to change this. Through initiatives like the National Youth Investment Fund by the President and the Empower, the Digital Skill for All program by the Federal Ministry of Communication, we are bridging this gap and building education, employment, and opportunity to meet each other at one spot. We are also investing in new frontiers through the National Talent Export Program and expanded investment in technical and vocational education training. Nigeria has trained and prepared thousands of young Nigerians for global competitiveness. In response to this, we are taking more steps to ensure that we make migration as regular as possible for Nigerians, especially the young people. No conversation on migration is complete without recognizing the indispensable role of the diaspora. In Nigeria in 2022, Nigerians in diaspora contributed 21.9 billion in remittances to the country. But more than the remittances, our citizens abroad are becoming leaders and change makers in technology, in education, in sports, and also in the creative economy. I'm sure most of you who are seated here, you can't watch a football over the weekend without seeing a Nigerian in a team. You just can't. You can't listen to music across Europe, across the world, without listening to one Afro music from Nigeria. You can't invite people to the global stage and you invite 10 musicians without one Nigerian being present. So Nigerians are contributing at the global stage. Therefore, the Nigerian diaspora is deeply embedded in our national story. They are investors. They are innovators. They are informal ambassadors of the value we hold as a nation. Permit me to share this story of a young Libyan by name Ishmael. Ismail left his country to Kano with his parents as a tender kid who migrated irregularly to Kano. He became an out-of-school child who was roaming the streets. We called him in Nigeria Almajiris. He became an Almajiris. And from Kano, some of the Almajiris took them down to Lagos. And in Lagos, he was adopted by a foster parent who put him in school. Today, Ishmael is one of the best developers working for an American company in the US. Just a bridge between training, investing in education, and bridging that with opportunity can change the story of many across Africa. It shows what happens when education meets innovation and when policy can meet the people. As chair of the Ramat process, Nigeria proposes 3 concrete priorities based on the potential of what Ishmael represents. Let's co-create the youth innovation hubs across Africa and Europe. Spaces where digital skills, entrepreneurship, and migration literacy intersect, especially in underserved and in transit regions. Because that was exactly what happened to Ishmael. Along a transit route, he met education. He met the potential. And that was all that changed him. And today, he's contributing at the global stage. Number 2, let's develop a harmonized migration-ready skills framework to ensure qualification earned in Africa are recognized globally, reducing irregular migration incentives and also promoting circular mobility. Number 3, let's establish a joint youth mobility and innovation fund between the EU, African Union, and the private sector partners to scale education access, seed youth enterprises, and support integration of returnees if they return back to their nations. Nigeria cannot work this part alone. We call on our Rabat process partners, our donor nations, our development institutions, and the private sector to co-invest in this vision. Let us scale what works. Let us share data. Let's match skills with global demands. And let's put our young people in the room, not just as recipients, but as designers of their own solution and their destiny. Empowering youth through education and innovation is not just a migration strategy. It is a peace strategy. It is also a prosperity strategy. And it's also a survival strategy, not just for us, but for the entire world. As chair of the Rabat process, Nigeria stands ready, not just to lead, but to listen, to learn, and to co-create with all of you seated here. Let this moment be remembered, not just for the speeches we make today, but rather for the partnership we forge after leaving this room, for the lives we will transform, and for the future we will scale and shape as a people. Having said that, let me welcome you to Nigeria, and I hereby declare the session open.
Thank you to the Honorable Minister, Poverty Alleviation, Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, Professor Nentawe Yowada. While he was speaking, we had the presence of the Honorable Minister of Youth Development, Comrade Ayodele Olawande. Please make him feel welcome, showing the importance that Nigeria who I would like to invite to the podium to just give a brief goodwill message because he is here. Please, let's receive the Honorable Minister of Youth Development, His Excellency, Comrade Ayodele Olawande, for a goodwill message.
Good morning, everyone. Let me stand on existing protocols. But with that, let me welcome and thank the workaholic professor and a well-trained burning man, the Minister of Humanitarian, for thinking deeply and seeing the reason why everybody will come together on youth educations, the meeting to bring the progress in skills development, and a lot of things like that. Again, my name is Ayodele Olawande, the Minister of Youth Development. And I will tell you that this is the first time since 1999, as African, Nigerian, democratically well-presented country, having a young person, really young person, as the Minister of Youth. And one of the reasons why the president of this country thinks about this, thought about it carefully, is that let us have a youth for youth that thinks alike, that knows the difference and can know exactly how we can approach the problem. Because we all know the problem. We're talking about skills. When you put large numbers of people together, one of those things that I will keep on telling you, including myself, is the problem we are facing as a young people. Unemployment, this and that, and putting us together. But again, do we have skills? Have we upskilled our skills? And that is why I will pick my Goodwill message from what I had from the Honorable Minister of Interior, Honorable Minister of Humanitarian, about how we can come together as one, as a body, as nations, different African countries, European countries, all of us will come together to fight this issue of unemployment. And I've said it, a country that really wants to build on something is that you take up the growth of our country. The growth cannot happen if the capital and human capital building is not working together. And how can it work together? We have a Nigerian youth that I know today, that we all know are very strong. We have a Nigerian youth that think and do. In whatever innovative industry you find us, we excel. We have a youth in education, we have a youth in sports, we have a youth in technology, we have a youth in agriculture, we have a youth in whatever way you want to mention it. And there is no way you don't see the formidable in us. We are formidable, we are agile. We know how to make things turn to whatever it is. Go to anywhere in the world, we make sure that we rule, and we are the larger percentage of people that makes it good. Forget about what people say about us. The president is working hard, because any country that is going to create an employment and good education, innovations for the young people must first create an enable environment for the young people to thrive. And that is what this administration is based on. That is what the president is working with his lieutenants every night and day to make sure that an enable environment is being created. And again, sitting down here today with what we've heard from all those development partners, ambassadors that are here, when you go on social platforms and all that, you say, Nigeria is this, but you are here receiving the AC and receiving the air fresh, everything is okay. It tells you that you are a peaceful state. We are in a peaceful country. And we can collaborate together to make sure that the growth of this country is stable, so that a lot of people can come and create that enable environment that the government is pushing, so that all of us will work in synergy. The youth education is important, and there is no how you can do education without innovation. And that is where we are in the technology space of this country. I welcome you. I don't want to speak much, because if you give me the opportunity, I will continue to talk more and more and more in those areas, in techs and other things that we're doing. And as a Ministry of Youth, we've made it as a point of our contact that 3 things is very important. And what are the 3 things? This ministry and government is set to support the youth, to empower the youth, and to protect the youth. And that is why one of our first months in the ministry, as a Minister of Youth, we've put up our own Coursera. And our own Coursera is a Nigerian Youth Academy, whereby you go there to do skills, open to digital community, open to gig community, and a lot of things you can do on the near space, which is Nigerian Youth Academy. And this is for us to empower, to close the gap of skills. And what are we pushing? We said we want 7 million of Nigerian youth in the next 2 years to have at least 2 skills. That is 1 youth, 2 skills. And that is our slogan, because again, the slogan that is in everybody's mouth today, that Nigerians have 70% of the population of this country, which is no more a statement, but a slogan. We are here to support, Because, again, we don't blame the young people. Because for good 40 years, before this administration come up, the youth cannot feel the government. They can't see the government, and they can't touch the government. But we are bringing the government back to their step. And we are making the government look visible to them by being open to them. Now we have a youth help desk that you can reach us to. You can talk to us. You can ask us questions. We will engage with humanitarian, we will engage with health, we will engage with education, because the Ministry of Youth, a lot of people does not even know the reason for the Ministry of Youth is to bring the government closer to the younger people. I welcome you, and I welcome everybody. And I want to tell you that this engagement is going to be a robust engagement that is going to shape in a lot of vocational innovations, educations, in every way that is going to affect the youth. Because every one of us here today, neither you are old, you are young, you are still working for us, which we are the youth of this country and the youth of the world. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you, Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister of Youth and Development, Comrade Ayodele Olawande. And now I would like to invite the co-chair of this meeting, who we've already acknowledged before, but please acknowledge very strongly because of the strong support that we received from the Kingdom of Spain, Her Excellency Pilar Mendez Jimenez, who's the Ambassador at Large, Migratory Affairs at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Kingdom of Spain. Please make her feel welcome.
Honorable Minister of Youth and Development, Ayodele Olawande, Your Excellency Fatou Sosa. Yes. Oh, now, yes, thank you. Honorable Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Professor Ntawe Goshwe. Honorable Minister for Youth Development, Ayodele Olawande. Your Excellency Fatou Sosa, Commissioner for Development and Social Affairs of ECOWAS Commission. Your Excellency Gauthier Mignot, Ambassador, Head of the EU Delegation to Nigeria. Honorable Federal Commissioner for Refugees, Migrants, and Internally Displaced Persons, Honorable Tijani Aliyu Ahmed. Madame Monica Zanetti, Head of the Pan-Africa region of ICMPD. Distinguished representatives of the participating states of the Rabat process and the civil society and youth organizations, dear all, please allow me to start by extending my sincere gratitude to the government of Nigeria for their commendable leadership as presidency of the Rabat process. For refugees, migrants, and internally displaced persons, and more specifically to Her Excellency Ambassador Catherine Udida, and her team for the fruitful cooperation during the last months in the preparations of this thematic education and in driving the future of migration. And a big thank you to all Nigerian society for your warm hospitality we have been feeling of our arrival. Spain to co-chair together first ever to inspire the whole of Europe and Africa relationship. This Spanish strategy sets forth a comprehensive plan to promote regular migration, sustainable development, and shared prosperity. It also anticipates the creation of the Advisory Council on Africa, which will include renowned African professionals and leaders from diverse sectors and backgrounds whose insightful remarks will help us in Spain improve the design of our partnerships with the continent. Spain strongly celebrates Nigeria's leadership and core priorities of the Rabat process, with a focus on youth, education, innovation, and regular pathways. All these elements will be quintessential in persuading young generation to avoid risking their lives through irregular channels. Nigerian and Spain's priority are very much aligned, and this is the main reason we are proud and very thankful for the opportunity to co-chair this meeting today. The decision of the Nigerian presidency of the Rabat process to begin it with this thematic meeting is more than timely. Our two regions have been showing complementary demographic trends. IOM forecasts indicate that by 2050, Africa's working age population is expected to increase by 450 million people. These figures highlight the extraordinary opportunity for inter-regional collaboration and co-development that we must make our best to unleash. It is in this demographic context that the importance of youth leadership and innovation becomes instrumental for long-standing and balanced positive impact of migration flows. Moreover, in the current international context, never before has the Rabat process been so useful and needed than today. Spain believes migratory multilateralism is a cornerstone to unlocking the potential of migration for mutual development. Thus, allow me to comment in our discussions in the Rabat process, jointly led by the ECOWAS Commission and the European Commission, which for the first time in our continent's united history has a Commission for Internal Affairs and Migration, to participate also, the participation also here to date of UN international organizations specialized in migration, OIM and UNCHR, your role is irreplaceable. During the next 2 days, our discussions and exchanges will hopefully bring us light around the 4 key words reflected in the title of this thematic meeting: youth, education, innovation, and migration. Allow me to share with you some core ideas around these concepts. Talking about youth, Spain has always been a strong believer in the power of youth. EU, nowadays worldwide known Erasmus program, was once a Spanish initiative we brought to the EU table back in 1987. It will soon be and has become a 4 decades long program that has not only strengthened cohesiveness among Europeans, but now also expanded over EU borders, including Africa. And Erasmus Plus, Spain welcomed in 2023 195,000 students, approximately 15% of the total participants, making Spain the most popular destinations of EU's main youth program. But I also learned that in Europe, Nigerian students are the #1 beneficiaries in Africa and the second in the world of Erasmus+. Talking about education, in Horizon Europe, the EU's main research and innovation program, Spain ranks 3rd in grant acquisition and 1st in project leadership. Spanish universities and companies come here to our Study in Europe fair and lead hundreds of collaborative R&D projects that address global challenges such as green transition, digital innovation, and inclusive growth. We also wish the Union of the Skills and Competitiveness Compass, recently launched by President von der Leyen, to provide momentum to the joint development of both African and European competitiveness. Talking about innovation, allow me also to express my gratitude to Casa Africa and EA University for the contribution coming from Spain and participation in this meeting, but also, very importantly, to my fellow colleagues from the Ministry of Inclusion, Social Security and Migration of Spain. department which in Spain holds the core competence on the socio-economic aspects of migration, and who in session 2 will be sharing here in Abuja Spain's best practices deriving from our projects having at heart migrant youth. 2 Spanish ministries working together in Abuja with 2 Nigerian ministries is the clearest expression of the whole of government approach in line with the United Nations Global Compact on Migration we wish to foster worldwide together. This is also the first time that the Rabat process opens up to the participation of representatives from civil society organizations and youth diaspora, signaling also our commitment to the whole of society approach. One of Spain's main characteristics when designing our migration policies is having a very active listening mode to the needs and concerns of our African partners, their governments, and their society. This is the very reason why we co-founded the Rabat process nearly 20 years ago, and it's still the reason why we co-chair this meeting today too. And last but not least, talking about migration, Spain believes migration is a vector for joint socio-economic development. And we have 3 messages today for African young generations. We hear you. We want you safe, and we want you successful. Your success will be that of your country of origin as much as that of the countries of your destination. Spain is the EU country closest to Africa. But this is not only a matter of geography. We also hold you close to our hearts and minds. We come to Abuja in the hope that co-chairing this first meeting of the Rabat process in Nigeria will be a testimony of our commitment to all of our highly esteemed African partners. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency Ambassador Pilar, for again restating the commitment of Spain and all the wonderful work that you have done supporting African youth, and in particular Nigerian youth, with the Erasmus program. And now I'd like to invite His Excellency Ambassador Gautier Mignon, who is the head of the European Union delegation to Nigeria and ECOWAS. Please make him feel welcome.
Thank you very much to our Masters of Ceremonies. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to stand on existing protocols also, acknowledging the valuable presence of Honorable Minister Professor Nentawe Yilwadda and Honorable Minister Comrade Ayodele Olawande, of Ambassador Pilar Mendez Jimenez, of Madam Commissioner Fatou Sossar, and of Madam Monica Zanet, and of all of you participants to the Rabat process, dear guests, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, allow me to congratulate warmly the opera singers who surprised and delighted us with this wonderful cultural introduction. I think we should do this in all our technical meetings and political meetings. It was a wonderful initiative. Ladies and gentlemen, dear partners, at a time when in a number of countries and regions around the globe, including in Europe, migration is weaponized, used as an instrument of pressure, or migrants serve as scapegoats for crime or socio-economic shortcomings, and see some of their basic rights trampled, it is essential to reaffirm the principles and objectives that unite the members of the Rabat process. Respect for human rights and rule of law, including international law, protection of migrants, in particular the most vulnerable, against all forms of exploitation and trafficking, responsible and coordinated management of migration flows, adapted to the realities of the societies and labor markets of countries of origin and destination, in a spirit of partnership, respect, and solidarity. We recognize the importance of continuing and deepening the dialogue on all aspects of migration management. The Rabat process provides a key framework for structured migration dialogue and cooperation between Europe and Africa. The strong participation of EU member states today is clear evidence of Europe's commitment. The EU and its member states welcome Nigeria's chairmanship of the Rabat process this year. This is a further illustration of Nigeria's commitment to promote a responsible and human-centered management of migration flows. The EU will accompany the country throughout the year to demonstrate our strong commitment to EU-Nigeria cooperation on migration and the Rabat process in general. Regarding the cooperation on legal migration, the EU works on further facilitating labour migration both at the legislative and operational levels. And allow me to quickly summarize the main ongoing initiatives on this important aspect. On the legislative level, the EU has worked on further simplifying legal migration procedures and facilitating international recruitment. First, the revised EU Blue Card Directive introduced more efficient rules for attracting highly skilled workers to the EU. Second, the revised Single Permit Directive streamlines the procedure for a work and residence permit and strengthens the protection against exploitation. Third, the Commission proposed the EU Talent Pool, which will be the first EU-wide platform making international recruitment easier, faster, and facilitate access to legal migration pathways and help to address EU's labour shortages. Concretely, it will connect EU employers looking for employees in sectors affected by shortages with job seekers residing in non-EU countries who have the skills to fill these positions. On the operational side, we launched talent partnerships with Tunisia, Morocco, Egypt, and also Bangladesh and Pakistan. They aim at boosting cooperation on international labour mobility and skills development in a mutually beneficial way, and they are open to all skill levels, focusing on sectors of common interest. Talent partnerships include a series of actions that facilitate labour migration, but we need to move on from short-term, small-scale pilot projects to more substantial and sustainable projects and systems involving several member states and foreseeing higher numbers of mobilities. We are also looking forward to launching a future talent partnership with Nigeria, in combination with other measures like the signing of the EU-Nigeria readmission agreement. When speaking about enhancing legal migration corridors to the EU, we cannot forget about resettlement and humanitarian admission, which provide access to safe and legal pathways for the most vulnerable. This is key to share the responsibility and support countries hosting large populations of refugees. The new Union Resettlement and Humanitarian Admission Framework Regulation, adopted as part of the Pact of Migration and Asylum last year, attempts to advance EU efforts in admitting people in need of protection. The EU is now working to define the strategic priorities for its future efforts, and the European Commission is working to promote complementary pathways in addition to protection, in addition to resettlements, which will be innovative and skills-based. And the Commission is also soon to present a new pact for the Mediterranean, where the consultation with partner countries are currently ongoing. It will be in line with a comprehensive partnership approach and include elements on investment, economic stability, jobs, energy, transport, security, migration, and other areas of mutual interest. And finally, the European Commission will present later this year a visa strategy, which will include measures to support the arrival of top students, researchers, and trained workers from third countries. And all these initiatives always take into account the necessity to avoid a possible brain drain in countries of origin. Of course, this is a very important dimension. And they particularly can benefit to young people, which are the main subject of our meeting today and tomorrow. Ladies and gentlemen, the EU particularly welcomes this topic, youth, education and innovation, driving the future of migration, under the co-chairmanship of Nigeria and Spain. Youth is our future, whether in the EU, Africa or globally. And we need to invest in our youth and empower them to shape our common future. This is why recently, In 2022, the EU celebrated a European Year of Youth. But young people are also among the most vulnerable migrant population, especially young women. More specifically, we must ensure that there are effective and smooth procedures in place to allow for the exchange of knowledge and skills and encourage mobility in education, research, and innovation. And we have to treat young people as subjects, as actors, not only as objects of policies and projects. This is why it is so important to give the floor and listen to them at this thematic event we rightly do. And the European Union has launched, as other EU delegations around the world, a youth sounding board in Nigeria aimed at fostering meaningful youth participation in shaping EU policies and programs within the country. And we are proud to have the active participation of two members of our youth sounding board in this event today. They are sitting at the EU desk. The EU supports job creation and initiatives that provide young people in origin countries with a future and meaningful employment prospects. And let me mention some examples of what the EU does in and with Nigeria through various initiatives aimed at promoting economic development, entrepreneurship, and skills training, prioritizing youth and women empowerment. And I think that these initiatives align very much with the proposals put forward by both the honorable ministers a while ago. This includes initiatives to upgrade technical and vocational education and training institutions. Vet and skill acquisition, in particular for green jobs, are mainstreamed in all education, social protection, and durable solution projects currently implemented by the EU, for instance, through the Nigerian Jubilee Fellowship Program or the 3 million technical talents in the digital sector. The EU support to vocational institutional strengthening in the agricultural sector across 3 states in Nigeria, Plateau, Oyo, and Benue will also contribute to the Nigeria government's social agenda. The EU is also committed to legal migration opportunities for skilled Nigerians, and initiatives such as Tech Pro for Europe, Digital Explorers 2, and Sustain provide pathways for Nigerian talents to work directly with EU companies, enhancing skills transfer and fostering economic growth. Then, of course, there is the Erasmus Plus program, the European Union's flagship initiative for education, training, youth, and sports. And it plays a significant role in Nigeria and, of course, in other African countries, offering students and academic staff opportunities to pursue postgraduate studies and professional development in European institutions. In 2024, the EU awarded fully funded Erasmus Plus scholarships to 142 young Nigerians for postgraduate studies in top European universities. This achievement marked Nigeria as the leading African country and among the top 5 globally in terms of scholarship recipients. The European Union and Nigeria are also working closely together to combat human smuggling and trafficking, with a strong focus on preventing the exploitation of Nigerian youth. Through joint initiatives, capacity building for law enforcement agencies, and support for institutions like NAPTIP and NIS, the EU is helping to strengthen Nigeria's ability to detect, prevent, and prosecute trafficking networks. The EU also supports awareness-raising campaigns and community-based programs aimed at informing young Nigerians about the risks of irregular migration and the deceptive tactics of smugglers and traffickers. In a nutshell, what we are promoting with Nigeria, like with other partner countries, is a comprehensive approach of migration. And my speech was certainly not exhaustive in this respect, but in the interest of time, I will stop here. We intend to invest more in all these areas, in particular in the framework of our Global Gateway investment strategy. We are very grateful to the co-chair for their invitation and to the Nigerians for their hospitality in welcoming all delegations to this beautiful country. The EU is proud to support this event through our implementing partner, ICMPD, and we are very much looking forward to our discussions during these coming days. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for also reiterating the fact that Nigerians are very smart, and also all the support that the EU has been providing for Nigerian youths and Nigeria at large. We appreciate the support. And so we'll move on very quickly to the Commissioner for Human Development and Social Affairs at ECOWAS, Madam Fatou Sousa. Please make her feel welcome.
Merci beaucoup. Monsieur le ministre des Affaires humanitaires et de la réduction de la pauvreté de la République fédérale du Nigeria, honorable professeur Yilwadda, je voudrais, à travers vous, adresser mes salutations distinguées à toutes les autorités ici présentes, en leur nom, titres et qualités, tout protocole observé, membres du gouvernement, du Parlement, de la société civile et la presse. Je présente aussi mes civilités à tous les membres du Présidium. Et je voudrais féliciter la République fédérale du Nigeria qui accueille cette importante manifestation et magnifier la bonne marche du processus de Rabat. C'est lors de la 6e conférence ministérielle du dialogue euro-africain sur la migration et le développement qui s'est tenue les 13 et 14 décembre 2022 à Cadiz, en Espagne, qu'il a été décidé d'élargir le dialogue à 4 nouveaux membres, à savoir le Niger, le Nigeria, les Pays-Bas et la Suisse. Je me réjouis donc aujourd'hui de voir le Nigeria accueillir cette rencontre thématique sur jeunesse, éducation et innovation, moteur de l'avenir des migrations. Le département du développement humain qui a en charge la question de la migration au niveau de la commission de la CEDEAO se réjouit de cette rencontre qui, je l'espère, nous aidera à poser de nouveaux jalons dans la bonne direction. Cette rencontre vise à explorer les moyens de maximiser le potentiel de la jeunesse africaine et d'améliorer sa contribution aux pays d'origine et de destination. Et 2 questions majeures nous préoccupent ici, qui vont être abordées, à savoir, d'abord, comment intégrer les perspectives des jeunes dans la gestion des migrations et deuxièmement, comment faire progresser la recherche sur les migrations et le renforcement des capacités grâce à l'innovation et aux partenaires stratégiques. Face aux défis migratoires en Afrique de l'Ouest, l'engagement de la CEDEAO s'est traduit dans les différentes stratégies et politiques régionales, notamment avec le protocole sur la libre circulation des personnes, le droit d'établissement et l'approche commune de la CEDEAO sur la migration. Elle a par ailleurs placé la lutte contre la pauvreté au cours des stratégies de réponse en insistant notamment sur la réduction des vulnérabilités, l'emploi des jeunes et des femmes, la formation professionnelle. Mais surtout, la CEDEAO a accompagné les pays membres dans la mise en œuvre de leur engagement et elle est allée plus loin en mettant à disposition de nos pays 9 millions de dollars au profit des populations de la sous-région. Mais depuis 2002, le département du développement humain et des affaires sociales a compris que l'enjeu, c'était la jeunesse, comprendre ses préoccupations, ses problèmes et sa vision dans la recherche des solutions. C'est cela qui nous a poussés à lancer les assises nationales de la jeunesse dans différents pays de la CEDEAO et qui vont se poursuivre par les assises régionales qui se tiendront à Dakar du 1er au 3 juillet 2025. Nous avons compris que la question de la migration renvoie à des questions économiques et de développement tout court, ce qui passe par l'éducation, la formation et la recherche. C'est pourquoi le Forum africain pour la recherche et l'innovation, le FARI, que nous avons tenu à Cotonou du 5 au 9 mai dernier, avait pour thème la jeunesse africaine, l'innovation et l'entrepreneuriat pour un développement durable. Nous avons voulu soutenir la recherche et l'innovation des jeunes dans notre sous-région. Et nous avons lancé un concours des startups. 150 ont répondu à l'appel, 24 places ont été retenues. Les innovations montrent, celles qu'on nous a présentées à Cotonou, que ces jeunes essaient de répondre aux problèmes de leur population. Et ainsi, nous pouvons dire, cela démontre que s'il y a des jeunes qui partent de l'Afrique par désespoir, il y en a d'autres qui participent au progrès de leur pays. Il s'agit de voir comment faire pour que ces derniers puissent tirer les autres, au moment où l'Afrique représente l'Afrique de l'humanité. En effet, les innovations ont porté sur des questions qui préoccupent les populations des différents pays, qu'il s'agisse du dépistage instantané du cancer de l'utérus, qui permet de rejoindre plus facilement les femmes du monde rural, qu'il s'agisse de découvertes ou d'innovations plutôt sur la conservation des produits agricoles, de la mobilité des malvoyants, du traitement des déchets électroniques, de médicaments à base de produits naturels, etc. Mais pour aller plus loin, il nous faut examiner les limites des politiques migratoires qui ont été développées jusqu'ici, qu'il s'agisse de celles de l'Europe comme de celles des pays africains. Et nous pensons, comme vous, qu'il est temps de changer d'approche et d'être à l'écoute de la jeunesse, car c'est sûrement cela la voie à suivre. C'est cela que je voulais partager avec vous par rapport aux orientations de la CEDEAO. Je vous remercie, messieurs et madame, pour votre aimable attention.
Merci beaucoup, Madame Fatou Sosa, who is Commissioner for Human Development and Social Affairs at ECOWAS. Now, I have the honor of inviting my very good friend, I like to say, who is the head of Pan-African region at the International Center for Migration Policy Development. Please welcome Madam Monica Zanet.
Thank you very much, Alex. Indeed, good friends. Honorable Minister, Madame la Commissaire, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Good morning, bonjour, welcome, and bienvenue. It is a great honor to be here today with you in this vibrant city of Abuja for the first thematic meeting of the Nigerian chairmanship of the Rabat Process 2025, dedicated to the crucial themes of youth, innovation, and education. What a powerful trio. Allow me first, on behalf of the International Center for Migration Policy Development, which I represent today here with my colleagues, and in my capacity as head of the Pan-African region, to express our sincere appreciation to the government, the federal government of Nigeria, not only for hosting us with the best possible standards in Abuja, but also for for the initiative of placing this important topic in a very timely way at the heart of their chairmanship. I think that Honorable Minister in his speech outlined the importance and the reasons why the Nigerian chairmanship decided to make of this topic the first event of their chairmanship, and the speeches that followed can only confirm the importance of addressing, again, this powerful trio. My deep gratitude goes also to the government of the Kingdom of Spain for co-chairing this event and for the unwavering commitment to the Rabat process. This meeting is the result of intense preparation and close collaboration between the governments of Nigeria and Spain, as we have already heard, sustained over the past months. Here, I wish to particularly commend our co-chairs for their steadfast dedication in shaping a rich, forward-looking and results-driven program. Their joint efforts, with the support of my colleagues at the Secretariat, lay a strong foundation for what I'm confident will be a series of insightful and impactful discussions in the next 2 days. Thematic meetings such as today have long proven to be both responsive to current and emerging trends, and to be particularly instrumental in bringing together diverse expertise to support informed policy making and foster collaboration on cross-cutting issues. Youth, innovation and education are powerful drivers of change and must be recognized as central pillars of strategic migration governance. They are key to advancing the objectives of the Cadiz Action Plan, which governs the work of, and guides the work of the Rabat process, and notably the priorities set under Area 1, enhancing the benefits of migration and addressing the root causes of irregular migration and forced displacement. And the recommendations, they also followed today's meeting. We must remind that it also follows the recommendations of the thematic meeting on migration, youth and development that was held in October 2023 in The Hague under the Dutch and Nigerian co-chairs and under the then Moroccan presidency of the Rabat process. By 2030, less than 5 years from now, the number of young people, that is ranging from the age of 15 to 24, is expected to reach nearly 1.3 billion worldwide. This demographic represents a powerful reservoir of strength, creativity, skills and resilience with immense potential to shape the future of migration and development governance. As former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan once said, the youth of today are not just the leaders of tomorrow, they are the change makers of today. Nowhere is this opportunity more evident than in Africa, where by 2030, youth are projected to account for 42% of the global youth population. Simultaneously, European countries are facing demographic transformation marked by aging population and labor shortages in key sectors. Challenges that also create unprecedented opportunities. This unique demographic complementarity between Africa and Europe offers a strategic moment to harness the potential of youth as strategic agents of positive change across partner countries of the Rabat process. It calls for strengthened cooperation to foster sustainable migration governance that benefit both countries of origin and destination, while empowering individuals to address the root causes of forced displacement and irregular migration. It is in this period that today's meeting brings together youth-led organizations, entrepreneurs, government representatives and key experts in the fields of education, youth, innovation, migration and diaspora engagement. Together, we will explore strategic avenues to ensure that youth voices are meaningfully integrated into migration governance and that young people are recognized not only as beneficiaries of policies but as co-creators of sustainable migration and development processes. Our discussions will also focus on how to more effectively promote youth-focused migration initiatives by exploring youth-specific mobility pathways such as education and training, labor mobility, and innovation transfer. We will examine how to stimulate entrepreneurship and innovation, strengthen the impact of diaspora investment, and enhance the developmental benefits of remittances flows. This meeting creates a space for peer learning and meaningful exchange across the region and beyond. We look forward to exploring concrete practices that empower young people, including from the diaspora. Senegal, for instance, has launched a flagship initiative that supports diaspora-led youth entrepreneurship and reintegration, and Nigeria offers internship and mentoring platforms that connect young diaspora with cultural, heritage, and development projects. Morocco's annual programs engage diaspora youth in policy dialogue, helping to strengthen their civic engagement and connection to national development. These experiences underscore the potential for collaboration and mutual inspiration across countries. This meeting also presents a timely opportunity to reflect on existing frameworks, highlight the success factors of current programs, and identify ways to ensure that education opportunities are both inclusive and aligned with labour market needs in both countries of origin and destination. It is only through collective will, coordinated action, and the shared sense of responsibility that we can fully unlock the potential of young migrants, a potential that, if nurtured, holds tremendous promise for the prosperity and resilience of our societies, both on the African and European continents. Meetings like the one we are opening now and holding today and tomorrow play an important role in advancing these goals. Before concluding, allow me still a couple of thanking words. First and foremost to the co-chairs, the Federal Republic of Nigeria and the Kingdom of Spain, for their exemplary cooperation and tireless effort in making this meeting a reality. A warm thank to the European Commission for its invaluable support to the Rabat process, without which this gathering, like all the others, would not have been possible. Finally, I would like to express my deep appreciation to my dear colleagues in the Rabat Process Secretariat for their outstanding work in organizing this important meeting. And here I have to add, together with the Nigerian team, if I may say so, a special mention to Ambassador Catherine Udida and Alex, who are on a daily basis cooperating with us. I look forward to our dynamic and constructive discussions over the next 2 days. I'm confident that the outcomes of this meeting will contribute meaningfully to advancing an inclusive, sustainable, and youth-driven migration agenda. As the singer of our singer that introduced the meeting, quoting the words of the Turandot opera they performed for us, they said, "Vincerò, we will win, we will make it." So I wish you all a productive and inspiring meeting. Thank you very much.
Welcome back from the live telecast. We'll now continue with our regular programs. Stay tuned.
At a time when payments were a puzzle, with no one having what it took to piece it together, there arose a need for a game changer. One unlike any other, that could pioneer e-payment solutions, enabling transactions between buyers and sellers, like making payments online or with just phone number, plus a game-changing, reliable multi-bank app platform. So, if you're still wondering how it all started, look no further. It starts here.
Unified Payments, unifying businesses for people.
The following is a paid presentation
morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Today, let's look at the education sector. Of course, it's been in the news for a while, the results of the UMTE, the Universal Matriculation and Tertiary Examination. The results were not sterling, so to speak, because we have a situation where only about a quarter of 1 percentage point of the students, around 1.9 million students that took the examination, actually managed the very higher grade of a minimum of 300. But by and large, it wasn't so encouraging. Now, being that as it is, but I get ahead of myself. Let me first of all introduce my guest. And we have in the studio Dr. Sylvester Enome. Yes. He's the education he's an education management consultant and former director of Education, Lagos State Ministry of Education. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. And we also hope to be joined by Dr. Jake Ekpele remotely. Jake Ekpele is a policy analyst. I don't know if he's with us yet. Good morning. Good morning, Jake.
Morning.
Okay, morning. Excellent. Morning. Excellent. Thank you. Good morning to you. Okay, so I was, in fact, we can just virtually, now that we have the full house, so to speak, I think we can actually get cracking. As I was saying, the results haven't been particularly sterling, but then the registrar of JAM, the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, has said that looking at the trends, there's nothing really surprising or unusual in the results that has led to an outcry. But many students have said that it cannot be, something must have broken. There was some sort of a glitch. Well, the registrar of JAM has said that following the outcry that he'll look at it, but maybe we'll seize the opportunity to look at other aspects on education. But just before then, let's take this report to sort of set the scene.
On May 5, 2025, the Joint Admission and Matriculations Board released the official breakdown of the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination results. According to JAMB, over 1.94 million candidates sat for the exam, but over 75% scored below 200 marks out of the 400 obtainable. Only 0.63% scored 300 and above, while 24,535 candidates scored below 100. The UTME is Nigeria's annual entrance examination for admission into universities, polytechnics, and colleges of education. Given the score breakdown, my team and I visited a Lagos community with a high youth population. Many students there shared their experiences and specifically appealed for the cancellation of the 6 a.m. examination schedule.
I had biometric issues and they said they were going to reschedule me, but they haven't rescheduled me. It's been over 2 weeks now. They should reschedule it. I've been waiting since. They've not gotten back to me. They've been saying they are doing investigation.
Well, the overall JAM experience was good, but I had a problem with my English. I did only 45 questions because number 1 to 10 in the English questions, there were no questions, it was only options. And the questions were 55 instead of 60, so that was the only problem I had. I just hope that at least they should not deduct the ones that I did not do. They should not deduct the mark from what I wrote because it was not our fault.
According to University of Waterloo, one of the key qualities of a good examination is that it provides an equal opportunity for candidates to fully demonstrate their learning. I met a concerned parent who claims that the questions his daughter encountered were incomplete. He questioned what exactly the examination body was trying to access.
We parents need to start coming up and start addressing issues like this, because I guess most of the problem these students are encountering in JAMB exam is because parents have no avenue where we can come together and come to speak for these children. And I guess from now, because like we are putting up something very soon, an association where parents can come together and begin to hear our voice about saving the interest of our children writing these exams.
I must talk about the process of the exam, what some students experience before they enter the examination hall. This experience is horrible. You can't imagine me going for an examination and I will remain inside the sun for hours to prepare for an examination. It's uncalled for.
However, for Nwandigo Chibuna, it was a different story. His exam center was glitch-free and he rated JAMB high in terms of conduct and organization.
I say that some people actually didn't read, but you wouldn't know. But I actually prepared every day, prepared constantly. I didn't stop, like 6 hours reading every day from like 9 to like 3, 4. Once I get to school, I started, it was seamless. Nothing like what they usually say, the thing will black out or something like that. My system was just fine and okay.
As reactions continue to pour in from education stakeholders, global best practice demand that examinations be conducted with fairness, integrity, and in an environment that allows students to show what they know.
Let's celebrate brilliance. Let's celebrate hard work. Don't let us put our students and our work under unnecessary pressure. You must do it at once. Your mates are doing it. Then, the issue of ICT, not only in Nigeria, all over the world, you will see students that will spend most of their times, and I mean it, most of their times on handsets. There are schools where the use of handsets is highly prohibited. Yet, you'll find students bringing sophisticated phones into the schools, and you see their parents defending that. The reality of this curriculum, the question we need to ask ourselves is that, is secondary school education curriculum enough for JAMB? If you go through JAMB questions, realistically, you will realize that the questions JAMB, the examiners at the JAMB level do ask, goes beyond no O-level, no syllabus.
The JAMB should ensure that the ICT centers are totally overhauled to ensure that during the UTME exams, the ICT centers are working effectively and properly. Because some students and parents complain that their children computer does not work or does not function properly during the exam. So this is one of the recommendations. And the second one is that the federal government should ensure that even though education is on concurrent list, so both the state government and the federal government should ensure that our teachers, especially from primary schools to secondary school, are trained adequately.
Okay, so there you are. There's been quite a lot of commentary, but to also add that the registrar of JAMB, Professor Ishaq Oloyede, has said that, well, when you look at it, the performance statistics for the 2025 UTME examination are in line, he said, with the past 12 years. He emphasized that such results are not unusual. And then the Minister of Education, Minister of Education has said that, you know, one should not discount the fact that the increased vigilance could also have thwarted some untoward practices, which has then led to what looks like a poor result. And then apart from that, you know, there are just all sorts of commentary. But I think ultimately now it has been, I think Professor Ishaq Oloyede has sort of considered that, okay, you know what, we'll review it. We'll look at it again, see if there was a glitch. As one youngster was saying there, you know, it's possible that there might have been, some sort of a glitch. That's what they say they will review it. One young lady there was saying that her questions, were incomplete and all that kind of a thing. So all of this is probably part of the whole bag of there being a state of emergency in our education sector. I mean, apart from these results, when you look at facilities in the education sector, there are problems. Give me your overview, if you would, Dr. Enama, on education today for the youths.
Yeah, thank you very much once more. And you see, education is very necessary. It's a compulsory aspect of human existence. When you look at education, without education, you cannot really do anything. In all sectors of life, education is very important. And because it's important, it should actually be handled with seriousness, which it deserves. The state of emergency for education is overdue. Education needs thorough overhauling.
This call has been going on from 2024.
Yes, yes.
And even before then.
Yes. Pure surgical operation. Let us give education pure surgical operation. Let's look at it from the pre-nursery to the university. You see, there are some countries in the world where they take education very seriously. And of course, recently, I think our president is doing that. I was here one time to speak about NEM fund.
That's right.
That should be a kind of catalyst, a stimulus for all the students to say, look, let me work hard. Because the product of hard work is more hard work. They should be able to know that education is not a scam. Forgetting about what some people will say by saying education is a scam, people are not getting what they should get, this and that. Education is not a scam. Without education, you cannot do anything. From what I have just analyzed a little bit, the federal government should try as much as possible to put more funds in education. I know this government have done a lot because like last year, they placed 2.18 trillion into education. And this year, 3.52 trillion. That is 7.3%. But UNESCO suggestion for developing country is that any developing country should put 50% to 26% of their annual budget into education. If actually this money is put into education and we oversee the usage of that money, it does not go left and right and it doesn't filter out, we will get result for that budget. If you look at some of the students I interviewed that really benefited from NEM fund, they are really happy. And that is a very giant stride of the federal government. Education, the people involved too, should be trained and retrained. At least as you are already aware, I was a teacher, then principal of so many schools and so on and so forth. When you don't train teachers and retrain them, they will continue to impart that same knowledge which they have, because you can never give what you don't have. That is that aspect. In case of this JAMB issue that people are really complaining of, with 2-3 people I interviewed too, there were actually technical glitches.
Okay.
Some of them, they said when they opened their computer, there was no question, but there were alternatives. Some said even when they were trying to operate their computer, it was not going. Some computers were faulty in some CBT centers. These are what JAMB supposed to have looked at before the exam starts. Added to that is this aspect of just posting students just the way the computer also must have done it. There is a little young lady in Badagry, about 17 years, who was posted to Ekpe. Okay, look at that aspect. First, the psychological trauma will be there. I will appeal to JAMB to please.
And then the hour, very early, for these youngsters 16, 17, as you said,
yes,
to be crisscrossing around town.
Around there from Ekpe, the end, Badagry end to Ekpe end. So I will appeal to JAMB to look at the addresses of those students who are going to write UTME and post them closer to where they are. And it will serve a very good purpose.
Okay. You know, let me now find out from Dr. J. Kekpele, the policy analyst. He also has, he's keenly interested in examination. Dr. Kekpele, you know, the Minister of Education, you know, Dr. Tunji Alausa, in his reaction, had said that, you know, it's quite possible that the high failure rate in this 2025 examination, he referred to it as a clear evidence that the government's anti-malpractices measures were yielding fruits, especially within JAM. Okay, taking that as a hook, give me your impression on the outcry over the poor results that we have received.
Thank you very much. Like I said, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm going to speak as one with a little experience into the JAM system and how it works and the special examination component of JAM, which is very commendable. I first of all want to empathize with parents who are going through the shock of their word probably not doing well in this exam. And of course, those who are also saying they had technical glitches that resulted into what we are seeing now. All of that is possible. But what is impossible is that Professor Ishaq Oluyode, that I know, I have personal relationship with him, have talked to him, been with him on several TV, visited him in the office. Nigeria have one of the best minds in JAM. I'm not trying to sell him, I'm just stating the obvious. Honest, with outstanding integrity that the world celebrates.
Mm-hmm.
And so Ishaq Oluyede is determined to deliver the best when it comes to education through his efforts in JAM. That said, I am one of the invigilators that worked in Abuja Center, but for the special examination, not all examination of JAM.
Students with special needs.
The Joint Equal Opportunity Group, you know, and by his grace, I'm the second vice chair for the group at the moment. So I speak with a little authority in terms of what I know. JAM is well structured when it comes to the system that they activate for this examination. Almost, if near foolproof in terms of its workability. Now, if you look at previous examination, which is literally showing the same number with this one, why is it that people didn't cry or express the anger and frustration that they are expressing now? The reason is simple. JAM has just exposed the poor education system and sector that we have in this country. We are just hearing this from JAM. What about the university results? What about WAEC? What about primary schools and secondary school results that they don't talk about because it's not in the public domain. And so I am not saying that JAM cannot make mistake or that the system may not suffer any form of glitches. That is possible. But to dismiss everything that JAM is doing and all that is very unfair to Professor Ishaq Oluye. Despite his age, that man is working Sunday to Sunday. JAM, because he wants everybody to work, provide free meal for his headquarters staff, I know.